You're watching Saturday Anime on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Beam is the ultimate fanboy of Chainsaw Man, but he has to be the ultimate fanboy of the Chainsaw Devil because he knows a lot of information about the Chainsaw Devil, like the fact that Chainsaw Man could also throw hooks from his hands.
Yeah, it shows that there's more to the Chainsaw Devil than we originally thought from Season 1. The best part is that Denji almost purposely misconstrued the information that Beam gives him. Beam's telling him to use his chains and kind of like swinging around and using that as a way to speed himself up. Denji just takes that as an idea to go and make a bridle for Beam, to which Beam doesn't really mind all that much.
Chainsaw Man, like any tokusatsu hero, has to discover different forms and different weapons as the story progresses. And this was the image that actually made me a Chainsaw Man fan, because I saw that panel from the manga, and then I had to read it, because that is the coolest image that they do a really great job of recreating here of Chainsaw Man riding the shark feed.
That double-page splash of Denji riding Beam and heading straight for Reze, who's got the backup from the giant baby Typhoon Devil. When I first saw that, I was just looking at that page for minutes, just taking this all in. I waver between saying Tatsuki Fujimoto is an absolute genius with putting together the comic page. He is absolutely insane with his ideas, and there in that double page spread, it all came together into one beautiful moment.
When they finally kill the Typhoon Devil, there's this one still image where it reminds you almost like a Garbage Pail Kids painting, but it looked really cool.
I know the moment you're talking about. The rest of the fight is just watching two trains in a head-on collision. Denji and Reze just beat the ever-living shit out of each other. The only thing is just Denji expresses some regret at having to go and slash his way through Reze like he did, whereas Reze is just getting more and more annoyed at his implacability. At the big climax of the fight, they're right there near some of Tokyo Bay, and Denji ends up taking those swimming lessons Reze gave him to heart. Denji takes his chains, wraps them around himself and Reze, and he just dives into the bay.
We have this reoccurring idea of the water, where we have the first intimate moments between Denji and Reze happen in the pool, then we have Bomb Girl appearing in the rain, and now we have Bomb Girl being stopped and sort of being reborn again as Reze, where she's become subdued. I guess this does become Reze's story, where she is this person who in some way is finding redemption. The more I think about it, I think it is Denji's story, because the beginning of the movie where Denji cries, and then there's this whole idea of him looking for this connection, and then we have this recurring idea of water. And then by the end of the movie, where Reze is telling Denji, I don't care about you, all those feelings and flirting I did with you was all just an act. Denji says to her, you taught me to swim, and that meant something. He has that connection. That connection he's searching for, like, there it is.
It's one of those moments where he goes back and reminds you that he is still a shonen hero. He's got the insight to go and see people for who they really are. I think about just a moment there where we could have happiness, and then it gets yanked away. You have Makima who comes by, and just a reminder that Denji belonged to Makima first.
There's that idea of free will, the same idea we see in the series, where Reze is working for the Gun Devil, and you can kind of infer that maybe she's almost controlled by the Gun Devil. This is the point where Reze trying to sort of forge her own destiny, and then Makima literally takes that from her.
It's so sad in that moment. It just leaves you with Denji with that bouquet of flowers waiting, and he waits for her all day, not knowing that the other woman that he's in love with, Makima, just took away a chance for happiness for him. Denji sitting there in that cafe, waiting for her to go and show up, hoping that she'll show up, is such a universal feeling.
Denji's like Hachi waiting for the dude to come back on the train. At least Power comes, and he realizes that Power's the person he should be with anyway, despite she's racist and gross.
The owner of the cafe says, maybe the girl you're looking for is just around the corner waiting to come in. And then in walks Power, and they've always kind of established Power and Denji's relationship as more kind of two bratty little kids that just end up causing more problems than they do solving anything. But they have these occasional teases where Fujimoto thinks that there's something more to what they have. There's a certain quality to their relationship that they can go and be mature about these sort of things when they need to be.
Denji and Power, they are very much like Beavis and Butthead. They're basically the same, but Denji is Butthead, where he's like slightly smarter than Beavis, who is Power. Like Power she's the more impulsive, crazy one. But they do bond because they have that shared immaturity.
It shows why Aki is as grumpy as he is all the time, too, because he has to go and be the one to deal with all this.
Yeah, he's the adult.
Aki even has that moment with the Angel Devil there as things start going and really reaching a climax with the battle. It looks like the Typhoon Devil is going to go and take the Angel Devil and carry him away, and Aki actually grabs him and holds onto him, even touches his hand, removing 2 more months off of his 2 years left to live. Aki just admits that he just doesn't want to lose anyone else. Seeing what happened to Himeno affected him that deeply, and understandably so.
He is the most human, and that does make him almost like the most emotional. He does hide his feelings, but then it's getting to him. Like, he's starting to break.
For a story that is almost constant all-out action, it's got a lot of heart in it, and it's got something to go and say. Do you think that this can be watched casually? Someone that's never seen Chainsaw Man before, they can go and watch this as like a standalone and not have to worry about what happened before?
I think it flows along well enough that you could follow it. There would be things you might not understand, like the certain things with Aki and the different contracts that he has, but I think for the most part, you could understand, like, okay, this guy's the Chainsaw Man, and this girl's the bad guy, and then, they fight each other.
Actually, now that I think about it, too, with the exception of the opening credits sequence, Denji doesn't turn into Chainsaw Man until more than halfway into it, but he stays as Chainsaw Man for that entire time. Chainsaw Man is definitely one of the most unique things I've ever read. The fact that you had a bomb woman with her ally, a giant baby storm, fighting a man made of chainsaws riding on top of a humanoid shark, and yet still give it an emotional resonance is something to really go and be commended, because only a madman like Fujimoto could go and pull off something like that.
Regardless of how terrible Denji's relationship with Reze was, he made out better than Devilman did with Sidon the Demon Bird, because at least Reze pretended to like him for a little while, and he had some good times where Sidon just tried to kill Devilman all the time.
I was talking to one of my friends about it, where it's like, Power is a great character, but as like someone that I would want to date, I have to kind of draw a line. She's a wonderful character, and especially seeing how she progresses as the series goes on. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If I date a woman, I'd like her to flush the toilet and bathe.
That's the bare minimum, but I feel like Power is adjusting to life inside because she's used to living outside. She'll get the hang of it. It's just going to take her a little bit.
Yes. One of the things I remember looking at and realizing in one of the end credit sequences, you actually see that she's brushing her hair, and that implies to me that she's willingly washed up and knows a little bit about grooming habits now.
For what it's worth, I would say as dark as Chainsaw Man could be, I do think this movie isn't depressing. People who go to see it, even if they're not familiar with Chainsaw Man, they will enjoy it.
Oh yeah, the spectacle alone is worth the price of admission. And I'm with you. More consequences that come about from this than there are with Denji dealing with Katana Man, but it's not as overshadowed by those consequences as things will be later on.
The movie's doing very well, and also the Demon Slayer movie's doing very well, and I think we could finally say anime is mainstream.
Yeah, it's made such an interesting evolution over the years. Like, I think about how in the 90s it was such a niche thing, like unless it was Pokemon or Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball, Japanimation was just considered violent porn cartoons. Thanks to the, the OVA scene just kind of spilling over into America. I appreciate how much more globally appreciated it's become. It's making a lot of money. I remember going to see Dragon Ball Super Broly in theaters, and that theater was packed. And it was all people that started watching Dragon Ball. Some started in the 90s like I did. Others, they only just got on board with it with Dragon Ball Kai. It's made such an evolution. Dragon Ball was one of them. Gundam was a big part of it. But it's just kind of gotten bigger and bigger. And it's amazing to see how that's changed to where, like, we're adapting this anime to an English-speaking audience. We have to change characters' names around. And now we keep things as accurate as humanly possible. The fact that I can even talk to people about this at work now and not feel like I'm the weirdo. And it's through that, too, that it even works as a stepping stone into animation from other countries. That's why I was watching Asterix earlier today. And if it wasn't for anime, we wouldn't have stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender either, which is another thing that really, I think, pushed for being more respectful to different cultures even. I don't want to speak in cliches, but the Chainsaw Man movie was a friggin' thrill ride. One of the most rewarding watches I've had in a movie theater in years. You want a movie that cooks? This is a movie that cooks.